Walk through any old industrial park in America and you'll spot them. Faded paint, rusty box bodies, engines that haven't started in years. These were the hardest working trucks of their era. They moved America's furniture, delivered America's milk, hauled America's freight to every corner of every town. Then they vanished, swallowed up by mergers, killed by emissions laws, replaced by Japanese imports, scrapped by the millions. Today we resurrect 10 forgotten box trucks from the 1970s and Number 10. The Chevrolet and GMC Tilt Cab. We're starting with a truck that millions of Americans saw every single day for 2 full decades, and yet almost nobody remembers it now. The Chevrolet and GMC Tilt Cab series. Most people who grew up in the 1970s remember the box trucks delivering bread, the cab-over trucks running between warehouses and grocery stores, but they couldn't name what those trucks were. They were tilt cabs. General Motors introduced the Chevrolet and GMC Tilt Cab in 1960 as a direct response to the wildly successful Ford C-Series that had launched 3 years earlier. The truck was a true cab-over-engine medium-duty design, where the entire cab tilted forward to provide complete access to the engine for service. The cab was set well ahead of the front axle, giving the truck remarkable maneuverability in tight urban delivery routes. Production continued for 2 solid decades, ending in 1980, with the last trucks being sold from existing stock through The Tilt Cab was offered in Series 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80, covering everything from light medium-duty through heavy-duty applications. Engine options ran the gamut. The base engines were the Chevrolet 250 and 292 cubic inch inline sixes, with options including the small block 350 V8 and the big block 366, 427 and 454 V8s. Diesel options included the Detroit Diesel 4-53 and 6V53 two-stroke engines and GM's own ToroFlow 4-cycle diesels. Here's why the Tilt Cab is genuinely forgotten today despite producing for 20 years. When General Motors introduced the 1960 truck line, they made the controversial decision to fit torsion bar independent front suspension to all light and medium trucks, including the Tilt Cab. The system turned out to be high maintenance and problematic in commercial service. By 1963, GM had reverted to a conventional solid front axle and leaf springs, but the damage to reputation was done in a critical first 3 years. The Tilt Cab never quite caught up with the Ford C-Series in market share. Today, surviving Chevy and GMC Tilt Cabs are an increasingly rare sight on American roads, and most are hidden away as work trucks at small businesses that simply never saw a reason to replace them. Number 9. The International Harvester Loadstar. Number 9 is one of the most successful medium-duty trucks ever built in America, and it has been almost completely forgotten today because the company that built it no longer exists. The International Harvester Loadstar. Production began in 1962 and ran continuously through 1978, making the Loadstar International Harvester's most successful commercial truck in the company's long history. The Loadstar replaced both the older B-Series medium-duty conventional and the BC Short conventional, becoming International's primary medium-duty truck. Models ranged from the lighter 1600 to the heavier 1800, plus tandem-axle F1800 and F1850 variants, and even a 1750 and 1850 with mid-range diesels. Body configurations covered the entire commercial truck market. The Loadstar served as a delivery truck, a dump truck, a fire truck, a school bus chassis, through the Schoolmaster variant, and a semi-tractor. Most Loadstars used a 4x2 chassis, but 4x4, 6x4, and 6x6 configurations were also offered, along with a 4-door crew cab. The truck's distinctive short hood styling came from International stylist Ted Ornis, and that stubby front profile became instantly recognizable on American highways for 2 decades. Engine options were extensive. The primary engines were International's own V304, V345, and V392 cubic inch overhead valve V8s, producing 193, 197, and 236 horsepower respectively. Diesel options included the International D301, the 354 cubic inch Perkins, and later the 195 horsepower Detroit Diesel 6V 53N V6 two-stroke. In 1974, the bigger block International 401 and 477 cubic inch V8s became available in the larger trucks. The Loadstar's downfall was simply timing. By 1977, International introduced the all-new S-Series to replace both the Loadstar and the Fleetstar, consolidating two model lines into one. Production of the Loadstar ended in International Harvester itself sold its agricultural division in 1984 and reorganized as Navistar International in Despite millions of Loadstars built, today they are nearly impossible to find on the road. Number 8. The International Harvester Cargostar. Number 8 is the cab-over cousin to the Loadstar, and it deserves its own entry because it had its own life and its own loyal following. The International Harvester Cargostar. The story starts in 1963, when International launched the cab-over-engine Loadstar CO 1600 and 1800 as forward-control versions of their successful conventional. These were available with loaded weights from 19,500 to 27,500 pounds. In 1970, International split the cab-over Loadstar into its own product line dubbed the Cargostar, with a wider cab and larger grille. The Cargostar then ran in production for an extraordinary 16 years from 1971 through 19. The Cargostar's strength was urban operation. The flat front cab-over design meant the truck could carry more body length within a given overall vehicle length and could maneuver through tight city alleys, narrow loading docks, and crowded urban delivery routes that would defeat a conventional truck of equivalent capacity. Engine options included International's small block V8s in the CO 1610, 1710, and 1810 models, with the 1750 and 1850 receiving International DV V8 diesels. Heavier models added Perkins 6-cylinder, Detroit diesel 4-cylinder, and the legendary DT 466 inline 6-cylinder diesel, plus the Detroit diesel V6 2-stroke. In its 16-year production run, the Cargostar found its niche in beverage delivery, refuse hauling, urban freight distribution, and short-haul tractor applications. By the mid-1980s, however, Japanese imports from Isuzu, Hino, and Mitsubishi Fuso were systematically taking over the medium-duty cab-over market, offering more fuel efficiency, better cab ergonomics, and more reliable diesel engines. The Cargostar was retired in International never directly replaced it. Number 7. The Ford C-Series. Number 7 is the absolute king of forgotten American medium-duty trucks. A truck so prolific, so reliable, so unchanged, and so quietly ubiquitous that most Americans saw it daily for over 3 decades and never gave it a second thought. The Ford C-Series. The Ford C-Series was a medium-duty cab-over-engine truck built by Ford Motor Company between 1957 and 1990. After 33 model years with only minor changes, the final C-Series trucks were built in 1990. At the time it was discontinued, the C-Series was the longest produced commercial truck in North America, exceeded only by the Mack Model R at 39 years and the Kenworth W900, which is still in production today. The C-Series cab was actually built by the Budd Company under contract to Ford specifications. Other truck manufacturers had to obtain Ford approval before purchasing the cab, with Mack famously buying most of the major cab stampings from Budd and assembling their own Mack Model N from 1958. In Canada, the C-Series had an identical twin marketed as the Mercury M-Series. In production nearly unchanged for 33 years, the C-Series wore very few visible updates. Between 1958 and 1960, it had quad headlights, useful for fire departments who used the extra bezels for emergency flashes. In 1961, Ford reverted to single headlights. Diesel versions were introduced in 1963. The C-Series spanned classes 5 through 8, with gross vehicle weight ratings from approximately 15,000 to 54,000 pounds. The C700 was a popular medium-duty model with a 361 cubic inch V8 producing 169 horsepower. The end came when Budd, by then part of ThyssenKrupp, decided to end production of the cab. Combined with the inability of the cab floor design to accommodate the new turbocharged after-cooled inline-6 diesels from Cummins and Caterpillar that were becoming industry standard, plus emissions regulations that the available 3208 Cat and 8.2-liter Detroit could no longer meet, the C-Series quietly ended its 33-year run in 19. Today, surviving C-Series trucks are still working on remote farms, in fire departments, and at small businesses across America. They simply refuse to die. Number 6. The Dodge LCF Series. Number 6 is one of the strangest-looking trucks ever to roam American highways. The Dodge LCF which stood for Low Cab Forward. The Dodge LCF series was built by Dodge from 1960 until 1975 in the United States, with limited Latin American production continuing through The LCF replaced the Dodge cabover trucks of the 1950s and represented Chrysler's serious attempt to compete in medium-duty and heavy-duty trucking. The 500 through 700 series were medium-duty only, while the 800 through 1000 series were heavier configurations. Here is what made the LCF unforgettable visually. Instead of using a conventional tilting hood for engine access, the LCF had distinctive swing-out front fenders. The entire fender assembly hinged from the sides of the radiator housing and swung forward and outward, while the hood lifted in conventional automobile style. Pop those fenders open and the engine sat fully exposed for what Dodge called walk-in servicing. The bumper-to-back of cab measurement was just 89.75 inches, allowing a 45-foot trailer on a 55-foot total length combination or a longer body on a given straight truck wheelbase. Engine options spanned an enormous range. Gasoline power plants included the 318 V8, the 361 B Series V8, and the 413 RB Series V8. Diesel options ran from the small Cummins to the gigantic Cummins V903 displacing 903 cubic inches. The largest engine option was the Detroit Diesel 8Y71N, producing 300 horsepower. Dodge ended its Class 8 truck market participation in 1975. Combined with the cancelled successor program, a planned short-nose version of Dodge's massive Bighorn intended to replace the LCF in 1976, production stopped. The Dodge LCF disappeared from American streets faster than almost any major commercial truck of its era. With Chrysler exiting big truck manufacturing entirely, parts and dealer support evaporated, and surviving LCF trucks were increasingly cannibalized for parts. Today, finding one in working condition is genuinely rare. Number 5. The Dodge Bighorn. At number 5, we have what may be the most spectacular commercial truck failure of the the Dodge Bighorn. This was Chrysler's bold gamble to capture the booming long-haul Class 8 trucking market. It failed magnificently. The Bighorn debuted in 1973 with broad shoulders, a confident rectangular grille, a long, powerful hood, gracefully swooping front fenders, and rectangular headlamps. The truck was tall and wide. The frame rails came from the same supplier that made Kenworth frame rails, and the trucks were essentially hand-built to each buyer's specifications. The engine bay was deliberately oversized to accommodate the largest engines available in the era, including the 290 horsepower Cummins NTC and the various Detroit diesel options. But the Bighorn carried significant compromises. The cab itself was a modified Dodge pickup truck cab. Despite the truck's massive exterior dimensions, the interior was deceptively narrow and felt outdated even in 1973. The cab insulation was inadequate for long-haul comfort. Drivers complained the truck was loud, hot, and uncomfortable for the multi-day cross-country runs the truck was supposedly designed for. Sales were a disaster. Dodge built only 261 Bighorn trucks total between 1973 and 1975. Then in 1975, Chrysler exited the Class 8 truck market entirely, ending production. What's remarkable is that despite the catastrophic sales failure, approximately 105 Bighorn trucks still survive today, many maintained by a small but passionate fan base. Roughly 40% of the entire production run is still accounted for. A 1975 Bighorn sold at All-Star auctions in late 2023 for a $100,941. A truck that nobody wanted in 1975 is now a six-figure collector's piece. The Bighorn represents how dramatically the trucking world has changed and how fast a major manufacturer can disappear from a market entirely. Number 4. The GMC General and Brigadier Conventional. Number 4 is a pair of forgotten heavy-duty conventionals that quietly worked across America until General Motors simply walked away from heavy trucks entirely. The GMC General and the GMC Brigadier. The GMC Brigadier replaced the long-running GMC J-Series conventional in 1978. The GMC General was the long-hood premium conventional, also introduced in the late 1970s, featuring an aluminum cab to reduce weight. Both trucks were styled in a distinctive squared-off, clean-lined look that contrasted dramatically with the rounder GMC trucks of the previous generation. The Brigadier and General were workhorses. Engine options included Cummins, Caterpillar, and Detroit diesel power plants, ranging from medium-duty to heavy long-haul applications. The General was particularly popular among independent owner-operators who wanted a clean-cut conventional with a serious engine bay. Available in both short hood and long hood configurations, the General offered enough room under the hood for the largest diesel engines of the era. The end came suddenly. In 1986, General Motors entered into a joint venture with Volvo Trucks called Volvo GM Heavy Truck Corporation, with Volvo taking an 85% stake. Under the joint venture arrangement, GMC heavy trucks were systematically phased out in favor of white-designed Volvo GM products. The GMC Brigadier ceased production in The GMC General was discontinued shortly after. As of current production, GM has not marketed another Class 8 truck under the GMC brand. A century of GMC heavy truck building ended quietly, and most Americans never noticed. Number 3. The Chevrolet Titan and GMC Astro 95. Number 3 are the heavy-duty Class 8 cabovers from General Motors that disappeared so completely from American highways that most modern truckers have never even seen one. The GMC Astro 95 and its Chevrolet badge twin, the Chevrolet Titan. The GMC Astro and Chevrolet Titan were Class 8 cabover trucks manufactured by GMC from the 1969 through 1987 model years. They succeeded the FD Series Cracker Box cabovers and were the largest cabover trucks ever produced by General Motors. The Astro was unveiled for the 1969 model year, with the Chevrolet Titan following for 1970. What made the Astro and Titan remarkable was that GM marketed them exclusively with diesel engines from launch. The base engine was the Detroit Diesel 671N, with options including the Detroit 8V71 and Cummins N-Series diesels. In 1972, the legendary Detroit Diesel 12V71 V12 became available as an option, though it was rarely ordered. In 1977, the Cummins KT45 on the Caterpillar 3406 became options requiring an enlarged radiator. In 1979, the 671 was replaced by the 6V92, making all available Detroit options V engines. Throughout production, the Astro consistently outsold the Chevrolet Titan. Following the 1980 model year, Chevrolet exited the heavy truck segment entirely, and the trucks were marketed solely as GMC Astros from 1981 onward. When GM formed the joint venture with Volvo in 1986, the GMC Astro production ended after the 1987 model year. Although Volvo GM continued selling cabover trucks under the white GMC and Western Star brands, the GMC Astro was never directly replaced. By the 2000s, the entire Class 8 cabover market had essentially ended in North America as drivers preferred the comfort and aerodynamics of conventionals. 2 decades of one of the most successful American Class 8 cabovers simply vanished. Today, surviving Astros are deeply prized by truck enthusiasts. Number 2. The International Harvester Fleetstar and S-Series. Number 2 are 2 trucks from the same manufacturer that bridged the end of one era and the beginning of another. The International Harvester Fleetstar and its successor, the S-Series. The International Harvester Fleetstar was a heavy-duty short-hood conventional introduced in 1962 and entering production in 1963. The cab, the gray grille, and the distinctive butterfly hood were all shared with the Loadstar. In 1969, a one-piece tilting hood became standard. The Fleetstar was used as both a local straight truck with mid-range engines and as a regional semi-tractor with heavy-duty engines. Production continued through In 1977, International introduced the S-Series to replace and consolidate both the Loadstar and the Fleetstar lines. This was a major commitment. The S-Series used a completely new cab with flat panels and a forward-tilting hood available in different lengths to match the engine size. The series spanned an enormous range, from the medium-duty 1600 model up through the regional semi-tractor 2500 and severe service 2600. Production continued for over a decade. The S-Series story is the story of International Harvester itself. The company's catastrophic 1979-1980 United Auto Workers strike, combined with the broader 1980s farm crisis, devastated International. In 1984, International sold its agricultural division to Tenneco's JIK subsidiary. In 1986, International Harvester reorganized as Navistar International. Medium-duty S-Series production ended in 1988, replaced by the 4000 series. The truly remarkable thing is how completely both trucks have vanished from American highways. The Fleetstar was produced for 14 years. The S-Series was produced for 11 years. Combined, they represented a quarter-century of International's continuous medium and heavy-duty truck offerings. And yet today, you will drive thousands of miles before spotting one in working condition. Number 1. The Ford Cargo. Our number 1 was the truck that finally killed the legendary Ford C-Series, and then itself disappeared just over a decade later. The Ford Cargo. The Ford Cargo was actually an Italian truck. Originally developed by Ford of Britain and introduced in Europe in 1981, the Cargo was eventually built by Iveco, the Italian truck manufacturer, for the European market. When Ford decided to bring the Cargo to North America in 1986, the truck offered a thoroughly modern cab-over medium-duty package with significantly better aerodynamics, far more comfortable cab ergonomics, and substantially better fuel efficiency than the increasingly archaic C-Series. The Cargo's introduction in 1986 began the slow execution of the C-Series. By the time the Cargo was selling well in North America, the C-Series cab, which had been in production since 1957, looked badly outdated. The Cargo outsold the C-Series during their final years of overlap, and the C-Series was finally retired in 19... Then a remarkable thing happened. In 1997, Ford sold the rights to the Cargo product line, alongside the rights to the heavier-duty Ford Louisville and Ford Aeromax conventional trucks, to Freightliner Corporation. Ford had decided to exit the medium and heavy-duty truck business in North America entirely. Production of the Ford Cargo in the U.S. came to an end that year. Freightliner continued to use elements of the Cargo design platform, but the Ford-branded Cargo was finished in North America. In just over a decade, the Ford Cargo had killed the 33-year reigning C-Series champion and then been retired itself. From American highways, a name brand that had been synonymous with medium-duty trucks since the 1950s simply walked away. The forgotten Ford Cargo represents the end of an era, the moment when an American truck giant decided that competing in medium and heavy-duty trucks was no longer worth it. If you found this video valuable, smash that like button and subscribe for more classic truck content. And drop a comment below telling me which of these trucks your family drove, owned, or remembers seeing on American roads. Did your dad drive a Ford C-Series? Did your uncle own an International Loadstar? Share your story. Until next time, keep those old workhorses rolling.